Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I've come back to do the part, I believe it's 3, on the page we're doing in the set of art by Mariola Budek, and hopefully I said that semi-right. I'm doing this page. In part 1 we did the skin with the PanPastels, and then we went in with some Luminance pencils and colored her up a little bit. We also put PanPastel on the leaves and the flowers, and then went in with the Luminance pencils and colored in the colors. They're a little brighter because spring's coming, and I kind of in the spring mood, so I kind of made the leaves a little brighter than I normally do. And I did change the flower a little bit from the last time you saw it. So I was going to show you how I did this. I went around with a Posca pen, and hopefully we have enough in here to finish the second flower. I laugh at myself because I knew it was running kind of low, and I went ahead and did this one, and I went, oh, well, I have to do the other one on camera, so hopefully there's enough in here. If not, I'll have to get out some, because this is acrylic paint inside of this pen, I'll have to get out some acrylic paint and just paint the rest of the flower. I'll show you how I did it. So I'm going to get the camera down a little closer here. And if you notice on this one, the edges on all the leaves are, oh sorry, camera's going to shake there, are whited out, and some of that white comes in, and I've just blended it with my finger. So I'm going to attempt to do the same thing here. So basically all I did was take the black line that I found here, and some of them are bigger and wider than others. So we would just go over it, and then say in one of these we kind of bring a little of that white down, and then just kind of go over it again. Dab it a little so it doesn't look so stark white there, and blend it. When we came back, or me, when I came back after doing all the lines, like this one I want to bring down a little and then bring it through just a little bit. I would go back over it with the pencil, and then we will tame down those lines a little. So bring a line down there. Okay, so we just went around and did that to all of these. Bring a line down when we had a little crease there, or a little divot. Anywhere you want to bring down the white, just pull it down. Try not to get it on the skin like I just did. I'll have to go over that too. There's like a little divot here. You can pull down some of that white. And basically that's all I did all the way around. Okay. I don't know how much of this you want to watch. Just putting the white lines in. And if you have a pen that has a little more ink in here, because we call it acrylic, it's a little more paint in it, you'll have a better flow of color coming down than I am. But I'm working with what I got, so. And let's see, I think I have enough to show you. Coming back and knocking down some of those lines that I put in there. So we'll take, and it doesn't really matter what color, it's just got to be one of the colors that's in the flower itself. So I have, well, colors I used in there were Crimson Aubergine, or whatever the name of that one is. Gosh. Trying to find the other one. Here we go. Crimson Aubergine is the darkest color I used, so I might as well just use that. And you can see this line is a little fuzzy here, and you just kind of go over it. And then if you very lightly go onto the Posca, you can just touch a little color in there. So if you don't want it so white in some spots, you can go over it and it'll put a little light pink on it. So anywhere you want to knock those little lines down or don't want them so bright, you can also use it to, if you go too hard, you will scratch off what you put down, so you really want to do it lightly. But in case you got it someplace you didn't want it, you could just scratch it right off. But just touching it up there a little bit. Makes it so it doesn't look like it was just laid down and dropped there. It just kind of helps blend it in a little bit. So you just keep a look at it and see where you want to cover up some of those lines. And then it'll just softly blend it all together. Okay, so I'll just keep working on that off camera, and then when we get right back, we are going to be working on our gal's hair here. So I'll be right back. Okay, I did all the white, but I did have to bring out some white paint. And it's just Focal Art. This is white titanium. It's the new one I bought. But there is a little petal here I'm not crazy about, so I am going to attempt to put a petal from here out. So just kind of drawing one here giving it a lip, and then kind of coming down this way gives you kind of the illusion of another petal in here. Okay. And then we'll let that dry for just a second. It won't take too long. We'll go over it with the bit of the pink here. And I just have to see that a little bit closer. So I'm sorry if my hair gets in the way. And there we go. We have a new little petal there, and it doesn't look so awkward like it did before. Anyway, I tend to do that a lot. So I just put the paint on a little paint palette, add a little water to it, and use that. The paintbrush I was using just came in a set of, I think it was 5 or 6 on Amazon. You can find them. They're just, you have to type in fine detail model paintbrush. So it's for like detail work on model cars, and they have these teeny tiny tips on them that give you that really nice fine line. So I'm going to go wash the paintbrush and the paint palette, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and it's all dry. Another thing I did when I was doing the something there on the desk to get rid of, doing this flower, and I did the white edging on it, is I went in and kind of highlighted behind her skin. Okay, because the flower's on top, and we need some shadow, so it's not just blending right in, so we have to go around and do that. I'm just using the brown ochre 50%, and just on the edges where you think it's going to show the most on the skin here, you just want to put a little color in there and then just blend it right out into the arm. This is a pile of hair, so you don't really need to do it there. But while we're here, we're also going to put the shadow underneath the flowers here. Now we have the shadow kind of coming this way. So we're going to go on this side of the plant, and we're just going to darken this side. Blend it in. We're going to leave that side light. This side down here. You don't want to make it overly dark, you know, like a deep dark brown or anything, but you want to kind of give it the idea that there is a little bit more of a shadow on this side. So we're just going to touch under it and blend it out. Now you might sit there and say, oh, that looks kind of silly when you're up close and doing it, but when you pull the camera or your eye back and you're looking at it, it works well. Put some on that side too. And that vein, I assume, comes down to that plant. And if we need to blend that in a little better with the lightest spot, I'm just going to bring in a little Prisma white here and just go over that edge very softly. Okay, then what I'm going to do is pull the camera up, and then you'll see just kind of a soft little shadow coming down, and it kind of adds a little bit to that. We're going to do that with the little leaves up here too. This may not show up as much because it's darker on this area, but we're going to just put a little more pressure on it and just give it some color there. And blend it out. But you know it's there, so there we go. Okay, so her hair in the original, she's kind of this, these are Prismacolors. So we have like Tuscan red, we have yellow, we have brown, and she kind of has this brownish, yellowish kind of hair. Yeah. Yeah, she's really pretty when I look at her, but then I'm looking at this one, I'm kind of going, ooh. That's all right. We're going to do this one's hair with a bit of PanPastel and pencils, so I need to get those out. They're in a drawer on the other side of my desk. Okay. This is the skin tone. Why don't I put it up a little higher so you can actually see what I'm looking at here. This is the skin tone set. It comes in a set of, there are actually 6 colors and then a colorless blender. There's a lid over here so you can take them out and stack them like this if you want. I find this really hard for me to unscrew and pull one out unless I have them all spread out on my desk, so I prefer to keep them in their little plastic case like this. Besides, I can store these little spongy things in here and they fit right into a drawer, so I have the 2 packets stuck, you know, just laying on top of each other in the drawer. I'll get them open. We're going to use I'll turn it this way. We're going to use the obvious brown colors for kind of the brown tone. So between these two, and this is our yellow shade. Now I have to get a little, what do you call it? Oh, little booty. That's what I'm going to call it. I have to find it. Here it is. Put it on for the skin color ones. Not the easiest little things to put on here, but are you on? Clean it off to make sure that we don't have a color we do not want. And because it's scary to dive right into the darkest color, I'm going to go in with the medium color here and stick it down in here in the darkest spots. So we're just gonna put some down there, and if we want it darker, we just go into the darker color and give that some more definition there. So dipping in between those two and just laying down a base color. So the darkest in the darkest areas, but mixing it with the lighter colors to come out. Okay, and we can get one of our little spongies guys here and put some of that down and get some of that blending. They call this colorless blender in there. And if you want, you can just pull that up a little higher, down a little further, but leave your highlight areas. Although you can come back in with the PanPastels and, you know, erase. Love these things. You can erase it, you can add your highlights that way. Want brown here, so okay, I'm going to turn this little guy over and we're going to put some of this yellow. Yellow's got a name, it's different. These are all Sienna tints of different variations, and the yellow one is called a yellow ochre tint, which means it's a lighter color because it's a tint instead of a dark, but it'll add a nice little yellow highlight in there. So we're going to add some of that in here in the light spots. So wherever I find a light spot, I'm going to put that. And she does have hair everywhere. Okay, and then up at the top, I'm going to hold on to the page, put the thingy down. Okay. Then we'll go back in with the darker and pull some of that. Into the yellow. Don't worry if you go out of bounds. Again, it can be erased. Okay. Darkest color where you got more shading. And we're going to go in with pencil on this too, so don't try to be too precise. If you get it on the white, you still can erase it, so don't get too upset about it. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is take the kind of straight edge on this, not where I have all the chalk, just down here where I kind of keep it plain, and I'm just going to run that around in here and soften those chalk lines up a bit. And I'm kind of blending the colors together. Okay, now we're going to take in our little brush, brush off any extra chalk. Sneeze a little if I have to. Okay, we're going to get our eraser out. You can do this with a, I get a lot of questions on this. This was a Daiso eraser. It has a little clip on here. You can hang it as a charm. $1.50 little candy thing that was out, I believe, at Christmas time. You can use this. It's just a kind of soft plastic eraser. I mean, it's nothing special. It's just a little kind of cute thing, but it works well on the paper. So we're just going to add in some of her highlights by getting rid of some of the pastel that's on there. Just add them back in wherever you want. Anywhere that you went out of bounds, you can erase. You want to do all this before you go down and spray it, which I have to do outside. So just pull some of those highlights back in. Just kind of going where they already exist on the drawing. Maybe adding a few of your own here and there. And then look at it to make sure you have it off of everything that you want it off of. Because once you spray, it's done, set. That's part of her hair. I should have left that. So anything out here you want gone. In between the hair, if you got it on any of the leaves, you'll want to brighten those back up. Okay. And so far that's what she looks like. I mean, that's pretty good right there, but we're going to go in with pencils. So I have to go down and spray it, and I will be back shortly. Okay, we're back. We're all dry, and boom, throw things around my desk. I picked out some colors to highlight her hair with. We've got the darkest shade here is going to be the raw umber, and that is 548. And then I have the this is burnt sienna 50%, and that is 866. And then I also have the burnt sienna 10%, which is 862. I also have a kind of yellow creamy color here to do some of the bits of the highlight, and it is Naples Ochre 821. And then I have my Prisma white to either pull out some hair here or there, or do coloring over the highlights that I put too much color in. Either one, it doesn't make much difference. Anyway, I don't know how close you want me to get to this because I want you to see the whole thing, and we're going to go in with the darkest shade here first. But if you want to get up close and personal to see what the pencil goes down like, I'm going to have to move the camera down. So I think I'm going to work on like this little strand here, and I'll get you down for that. Okay, this is what it looks like with the PanPastel. It's all set, you can't move it. I use a workable fixative. I'm just going to go in the darkest area here with this very sharp pencil and pull some of that color down. See, we have a dark line that goes all the way to here, and I want to kind of accent that one, so we're just going to pull it down a little further. We have this one that comes down. Then this is the back hair, and this is the other hair. So we're just going to pull the dark up from the other side. We want to get the side where the line is with the color also. So we want to color in that gray line. Okay, so we'll bring in the next color. I'll dust that off if I can find my duster here. There we go. It's the burnt sienna 50%. Just kind of go back over what you put down very lightly here. It's a redder color, but I'm trying to match the original that I colored. So bring some of that in. You want to bring it just, this is kind of the line of the darker. We want to bring it down just a teeny bit more, not much. Going over all the lines again. Okay. Oops, sorry. Then we're going to bring in the burnt sienna at 10%. Same thing. We're going to come down a little further, up a little further, but we're not going to touch this area. Hopefully, too much. Okay, now we're going to bring in the Naples Ochre, and we're going to come down into where I put the yellow. Okay. And then we're starting to build up our colors. We're going to go back the opposite way. So we're just going to go back in here with the 10%. Then we'll go in with the 50%. Just get those blended a little bit better. And then the raw umber. Okay, so that is what we're after here, is a color. I'll lift that up so you can see the difference between just that one strand and everybody else. So we just keep kind of layering in with tiny or larger strokes, but we don't want to be really just coloring it. We want the hair to show. All these gray lines, we want to make sure we get color on those. So I'm just going over with the, make sure I get it right, the raw umber. And just laying the color down where I want it darkest. Basically just following the outside line, and wherever she's got her shadows down is where I want to put the darkest color. So I'm just going to go around her hair and do that. And then we'll go in with the 50%. 10%. Then this one's a new one for me, so it's Naples Ochre. And then, like I said, if we get a little too not so highlighty, we're going to go in with some of the white and add in those highlights a little bit better. It's a nice thing about all these pencils, they work so nice together. Go backwards, fill in your colors. Put any more strands in that you think need to be there. Change it up a little bit. And then just add in the dark again. Basically just go around and have fun with it. So I'll be working on that, doing all the little curls and even the upper portion up here. We're going to put the dark on the dark lines. It's the same process. %. The only thing here is you want to work some of that color down, but we want to leave that the lightest color so you have a definition between these two sides of her part. The 10%. And then the Naples yellow. Adding a little highlight just around that area. We're going to go over it again with all those colors, so if you think you got it too light, you can always go in with the other colors and dull it down. If you get it, or you think you've gotten it too dark, go in with the white. Add a highlight back in there. You can always fix up your little boo-boos. So anyway, there's a lot of coloring of the hair here, so it's basically done the same way I did that. The top is more or less done. There's a little bit more shading in there that we need to do, but you want to get the top hair up here dark and bring it down because it's on the back of her head. So there would be, you know, want to give her some curve. And if you want to highlight that a little more, just add a little white in there. Go over it with the secondary shade, which is just the lighter of them. This is the 10%, and this works really well around her face here to bring in some hair too. Blends nicely into her skin line, and you don't have to be terribly precise. I'm going to sharpen up the darkest color just because I want some really straight lines here. So we're just going to pull it in, put down and pull. You're kind of going the same direction of the hair that you're pulling it in from. You want to kind of define the hair as in coming off the skin and not laying on top of it. So you want to bring it out a little bit and then just pull it in. Working with a nice sharp point when you do hair, it's a really good idea. Just gives the hair a little bit more strands, I guess is what you call it. Make it look like it has more strands. So I will just continue to work on that. Like I said, just going where her existing lines are as the darkest, kind of keeping your strokes going the same direction as the hair. If you have a V and you don't want just a V here, just pull some down into the next area. Or pull it up. Your page, your coloring, you can do whatever you want to with that. Just have fun with it. Make it your own. Enjoy the process. This is a slow picture because you have all this hair. I mean, if you had to color in each one of these strands on their own, you'd be at it forever, but since you're laying down your color on top of the pastels, it kind of makes it a little easier that way. You can also do this with Distress ink if you like. Just put the ink down the same way we did with the pastels. There's no fixative involved in that. But there is the one, you cannot erase ink when you put ink down on a paper. So, kind of trying to give you guys a little more range of different things to use than what I'm always grabbing for. So PanPastels are really nice. Okay, we've got 2 strands of hair down here. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off camera since I have so much to do. And when we get back, if there's any little hairs that I want to go over with my very soon to be rest in peace pen here, I'll put like some little white stragglers in here every now and then, especially like around her ears. She's actually got some that are right here and here that are coming down, and I may add a couple more that fall down from her face here. I'll do that on camera after I finish up her hair. So I will see you back here after I am done getting all the color laid down. Okay, we're back, and I finished off her hair. Probably got some marks in there. Looks like there's a... I brought in a brown, it's called dark brown Prismacolor, just to go over some of those lines on the outside of her hair here. This seems to cover up the gray lines a little better. I really don't want them showing, but I mean, some of them are going to have to. And it just brought another tone into her hair. Okay, then we're going to add in some, because nobody's hair is absolutely perfect, a few little stragglers here. I want to bring them in with the Posca, but I don't know how much I have in here. I could probably bring them in if I really sharpened the Prismacolor, but I don't want to just blur it in there. I want it to stand out, so we'll see what we can do here. Here we have a cup. I sharpened that too tight. That's set up for something else. Those have to stand up a little more, but we can also pull them out with a little bit of the brown here. So if we want, we can pull like this one here comes out and then kind of goes nowhere. We're just going to follow that line and pull it down a little bit. We'll follow over here and pull one down over on this side. And we'll pull one out here, just a little one. And this one she has going around her hair, so we'll pull one out there and maybe a little piece coming out on that side. Maybe a little one coming out here. Once you pull it up, pull one down, going across here. Darken that one up a little bit. We can pull, let's see, pull one from back on this side here. So this hair comes down. We'll pull one out over here, and maybe one coming over the leaves here, just to give her some interest in her hair. Okay, and we'll follow this one down and pull some of that down here, just so we have a little something coming around. But we'll make sure you know where they start, so you want to darken them up a little bit. Just add a few in. You do not have to do this. I just kind of like doing it. Okay, like I said, you don't have to do this. If you don't like them, you can lighten them up with a little white. Just soften it up a little bit. If you think that color was too much. It just softens it up a little. I usually would do that with a white, but since we've got so much brown here, you can kind of, if you wanted to, go over that one with a little white too. Just bring some hair down. I know that wasn't exactly the lightest touch, but you just bring some stranglers and then fluff the end up into the hair. Go over that with a pencil if you like. Highlight the ones that are coming down already. Stick one over here. Just play with it, have fun. And we'll stick one up here too. Like I said, this pen is running out of ink, so there we go. And we can always go back in and touch up that end that we started and add a different color onto it so it doesn't look like it was just stuck out there doing nothing. Very lightly go over. Not too bright white that way. All right, and I am finished. So what I'm going to do is take a picture of these two and show you what they look like at the end of the video. I really appreciate you guys following me on this little journey of seeing how I started in 2018 to what I can, or what I am doing now, I should say. There's a little bit of a difference, I think. I've kind of grown a little bit as an artist, I think, and I've been having fun the whole time practicing and using different medias. Started out in my journey just using a whole bunch of distress ink and coloring that way, which I love doing and will continue to do, but branching off into pencil work and PanPastels and such, it's just a fun journey. So thank you guys for following along with me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. Bye now.